This morning, Bloomberg reported that China intends to announce this month the first batch of U.S. soybean purchases. Now, apparently, the volume is going to be between 5 and 8 million tons. And if commercial companies should be buy further, there'll be another 2 million tons that would be reimbursed for the 25% tariff. Now, this is the kind of news that should have been reported in the mainstream media. I'm talking across all media platforms, which, of course, they did focus on many reports about the plight of farmers from the, quote, Trump trade war. Of course, most people, even those in the stock market, have not heard this news today. It's this kind of stuff that drives the president and the administration crazy, but it's time for them to ignore the media and focus on closing the deal. Last week, the biggest source of market pressure came from a presidential tweet and a parade of White House officials constantly contradicting themselves and working too hard to appease the wrong people. Wall Street is not rooting for the White House, and the White House is wasting its time and falling into traps when it tries to defend itself. The replies last week hurt the stock market. It didn't help. Now, when I began as a stockbroker, the first thing I was taught was to ask for the order and then shut up. Don't talk, right? So before that, you talk, you overcome rebuttals, you present the value proposition, and then your best weapon is silence. This could be the most consequential economic negotiation in the history of America. Forget about providing Wall Street with play-by-play. Just get the deal done. Let's bring in Patriarch Organization CEO Eric Schiffer and Kadina Group President and Fox News contributor Gary B. Smith. Gary B. Smith, you know, I think the White House is doing itself a disservice by trying to talk about this deal every single day. The key players are in place. Lighthizer knows how to paper this deal. China wants to do a deal. I think we can win this and don't have to have the volatility.
Well, exactly, Charles. And let's not, forget the president is directly to blame for a lot of this. I mean, one day he's saying, look, after the last summit, we have a deal. The next day he's saying, I'm tariff man. I mean, that's enough to send Wall Street and the markets into a tizzy. I think you're right. I mean, from the start, I think we all agree that as blunt and as straightforward as Trump's tweets are, at least on trade, they should probably back down. And as you're saying, let the professionals take care of this, because this is in everyone's interest to get it done.
You know, Eric, I understand the president getting frustrated. Wall Street and the media, financial media, never really will give him a break, like the mainstream media. And it was only a couple of days later where the Chinese government started to echo all the things that Trump had said, but it took him a couple of days. And in that time frame, we got that infamous tweet.
Yeah. It's interesting. Well, first off, I agree with you, Charles. I think, and second, the media has exacerbated the tensions. They are not focusing on the positive. There's no question Beijing, they have to have this deal. I mean, the numbers are clear. I mean, they lost significantly in the latest trade data, 50% in terms of exports. So they're motivated. The issue with respect to this, executive that was held in Iran and how they're not making an issue in China, I mean, that's another real big indicator. They want to make a deal. So I agree. The administration should stay focused. Get rid of the distractions. Don't give Beijing any kind of political challenge with their own people. When these tweets come out, and I think any kind of talking, you risk the political challenge for Beijing to be able to make a deal, too. We don't want to create any headwinds for them. So, I'll tell you, if you're concerned about investing because of China, don't be. Invest. There will be a deal in the next 12 months. I'm convinced of it.
Yeah,
this is just a short-term problem.
And I hope it's before 12 months, maybe incremental achievements. But, Gary B., to that point, Reuters today, I thought, had a great piece out when they said that nowhere in the China media was there any talk of Huawei being connected to trade or suggesting that it would hurt the trade negotiations. That was the headline in America, though. Everyone made the assumption, leaped to the assumption that would hurt the trade negotiations. So, again, the American media always defaulting to a worst-case scenario where nowhere in China from the Commerce Ministry on was it even mentioned.
Yeah, exactly, Charles. And I think that's indicative that the Chinese government would like to get a deal. I will say one thing in response to Eric that, I think invest whether you think a deal is going to get done or not. The amount of the tariffs, the effect on the combined economies of both the United States and China is insignificant, really. I mean, it's getting big headlines. I do agree that I think there will be a deal done. But if there's not a deal done, you're talking two huge economies. The effect of all the tariffs, even if they are done, signed for, and collected, a stretch, by the way, still not going to amount to much on our GDP.
Yeah, I think the number so far is $11 billion, and when you do put that in perspective, it is not even a nanosecond worth of economic activity.
Exactly.
Thank you both very much, Eric and Gary. Appreciate it.
You bet.
Nice, Charles.